Hi everybody, today I'm going to teach you how to make really good gluten-free or regular lasagna. And if you're somebody that doesn't like how long it takes to make lasagna, then you'll want to watch this because I'm going to show you some really cool tricks on how to speed it up, and you can easily make lasagna in like 10 minutes. So stick around and see how. Hi, welcome to Two Rebels Off Grid. I'm Carrie. If you're new to our channel, we are all about learning about going off grid. Doug and I, who is not in this video today, but he and I are in the process of researching and planning to go off grid onto our property that we purchased in Arizona last year. So we're still in the planning phases and we still have some things to button up around here, but we would love you to follow our channel because we're going to learn a lot along the way, and we think we can also learn a lot from you. So make sure and give our channel a like and subscribe, and we're really glad to have you on this journey with us. Hey, welcome back to my kitchen. I'm going to make lasagna for you guys today. I have been making lasagna gluten-free for quite a while. A lot of you already know that my 19-year-old daughter has been gluten-free for about the last, coming up on 10 years. They didn't used to have really good gluten-free noodles back when she first had to go gluten-free, so I had to learn how to make lasagna without the lasagna noodles. So I always resorted to zucchini noodles because they have a really neutral flavor and they go great, and it's really easy to work with. So now on the market they have great gluten-free noodles that are actually even oven ready. So if you didn't want to do the zucchini noodles, I would recommend doing the oven ready gluten-free noodles if you're gluten-free. Now if you're not gluten-free and you just like good lasagna that's easy and quick to make, then just use the regular oven ready lasagna noodles. You don't have to pre-boil them or anything. You can just put them in your lasagna just right out of the box. So it's really easy to work with those. So what we're going to start out with today to get this recipe started, first of all, I'm making 2 batches, and I'm just going to do that at the same time. And I did a little bit of prep so that you guys wouldn't have to watch me chopping. I know that gets kind of boring, so I got some stuff ready. I'm going to go through it with you. At the very end of the video, I'm going to put up a card of the actual recipe. So if you stay to the end, I'll let you know right before, and you can take a quick screenshot of it so you've got it and you can make this yourself. So to get started, I went ahead, and this is actually one of my little shortcut tricks. I don't always do this, but I didn't feel like cooking. It's kind of warm right now here in the Denver area, and I didn't really feel like heating up my stove and stuff, so I just went ahead and bought pre-made Italian meatballs. We have a great butcher that is in our area, and they have pre-cooked meatballs, so I just bought some, and then they're right here. They were already cooked, so I just took them out of the package and just kind of chopped them up so that they'll go, you know, into the lasagna really easily. That's a really quick trick that you can do. You can also use just ground beef, and some people like to do pork and veal. Some people just do ground beef. Some people do a different combination of meats. I believe this is beef and veal combination, and it's already seasoned, so it's a pretty cool way to work with the meat. The other thing that I do that's kind of quick is the marinara sauce that's in a jar. I like to make my marinara sauce normally, but again, I didn't want to heat up the stove, so I just brought out it's the Simple Truth organic marinara. I try to buy organic when I can afford it, and I like this brand. So I've got that. That's going to be for the sauce. We have about, I'd say, 1.5 cups of Parmesan. And then I'm going to use cottage cheese today only because that's what I have on hand. Normally you would use ricotta, or some people like the ricotta, some people like the cottage cheese better. I like both, but today we're going to use cottage cheese. And then I've got fresh mozzarella. I like to use really good mozzarella. I don't buy the grated up cheeses because a lot of companies will put filler into those pre-shredded cheese that you buy at the store, and it's just probably not something that you really want to eat. I think it varies brand to brand, but some of them I've seen, it's like a type of a wood pulp So I'm just not into eating that. Some of you might be fine with it, but I don't buy pre-shredded cheese anymore, even though it is easier. But for this recipe, I just slice the mozzarella, so so it's really easy to work with. And then I've got my sliced up zucchini. So this is 2 zucchinis, and I've got 8 slices out of here. They're probably about 1/4 inch thick, I'd say. And then I've got salt and pepper, and then I've got a little bit of this, I'm using this pizza and pasta sprinkle. You can use Italian seasoning or whatever kind of seasonings you like. And then, if I didn't already say it, salt and pepper. So we're gonna make these up pretty quick. These are ready to go. I'm gonna go ahead and put a little grease in this one and get started. This one I'm not gonna grease because what I'm gonna actually do, I've lined it with foil. Then when it's frozen, I'm gonna go ahead and take it out of the freezer and then fold the top over and then kind of wrap it up so that I don't have to use my glass container in the freezer. And I do that because I have a small kitchen and I don't have a ton of these casserole dishes. So I want to kind of preserve it for another use because the lasagna will probably be in my freezer for 2 or 3 weeks. So I'm gonna do it that way, and that's another little quick trick. So I'm going to go ahead and grease this up, and I'll be right back and we'll start assembling this and getting it put together to bake. All right, so I've got my pan greased up and ready to go. I don't really have a recipe for this lasagna, and it changes. So depending on what you like, some people might want to do, 2 or 3 layers of the zucchini. Some people might want to do more meat. Sometimes you might want to do more cheese. The wonderful thing about lasagna is it doesn't need to be like a fixed set in stone recipe. You can do whatever sounds good that day if you're feeling like you want more cheese or more sauce or however you want to do it. So it kind of is a little different every time, but it's always really good. So let's get started on layering it up. So we're going to start with our zucchini, and these are not pre-cooked. They're just fresh sliced zucchini. And I'm going to start with the back one here, and we're going to lay down 4 slices. And like I said, this is greased. I'm not greasing this since it's tin foil. And we're going to go ahead and lay our 4 down here. And I might need to actually finagle this just a little bit to make it fit right. So we can do that, and then I'll just stick the extra one. I think I'll stick it over here. That one looks a little sparse. So I've got that laid down, and then I'm going to go ahead with the sauce. And I'm going to go ahead and put some sauce down. Just a thin layer of sauce on the zucchini because they're going to soak that sauce up pretty good. And this marinara smells really good. Like I said, I like to make homemade marinara from scratch, but today's kind of a little bit warmer day, and like I was saying earlier, I don't really want to heat up my my stove. The oven has to get heated, unfortunately. I'm not dumping this out because I want to make sure I have another half a jar. And sometimes when I dump things, I dump a little too much, if you know what I mean. So you just kind of spread that out a little bit, okay? And then next, let's do some meat next. I've got quite a bit of meat. So I'm gonna do half and half. I might actually have a little bit extra meat, and I'll just use it for something else later. We're big meat eaters in our house, except for not my little 19-year-old daughter. She is not a meat eater. She is gluten intolerant, not by choice, but she is a non-meat eater by choice. And she actually made that decision when we first got chickens when she was, I guess she was around 12. And it started with not eating chicken and escalated from there, and we really thought that she would outgrow it and that she would start eating meat, especially like when we're cooking bacon or something that has a really strong smell. But she's now she'll be 20 actually next month, and she's still not interested in eating meat at all. So I tried going with her and doing it, and I made it about a month. So yeah, I don't have the willpower that she has apparently. So I've almost got the meat layered down. It's looking good. I'm putting a little bit of extra meat in this one just because the pan's a little bit deeper. All right, I guess I can get a little bit more in here. I don't want to fill it too full, but if you're somebody that doesn't like to eat meat in your lasagna, or you want to make a lasagna without meat, you can definitely do that. It is good with or without meat. So I'm going to do the cottage cheese next. I don't have a lot of cottage cheese. It's like maybe a half a carton. So I'm going to go kind of light on that, but I'm going to try to do it evenly between the two pans. I actually love cottage cheese. I wish I had more, but I didn't want to go to the store just for one thing, you know. And I had the mozzarella and the Parmesan, so that will kind of make up for it. But yeah, if you're somebody that doesn't like to eat meat, you can definitely put alternatives in there. Put more vegetables in there. Some people like to use tofu. You can also do like portobello mushrooms, and you just would slice them up and lay them down like you would a layer of meat. There's lots of alternatives, and there's lots of different ways to make lasagna, so don't feel like you have to do it this way. You do what works for you and your family. So I'm just kind of spreading that around. That's looking good. So I want to do another layer of sauce, and this time I think I am going to just dump it because I know I got about half a jar left. So oops. All right, easy peasy. Just spread that around. Doesn't need to be perfect. It's all going to be good when it cooks together. All right, so there's that. Next, I'm going to go ahead and do I've just got this general purpose salt-free pasta pizza sprinkle that I like. It's really good, so I'm going to do a good layer of that. I'm doing it on the sauce so that it kind of blends together. Okay, probably I'd say a tablespoon on each of these. A little bit more, a little bit less, depending on what you like. We like a lot of spice. Okay, so that's good. And then I'd like to do fresh cracked pepper and salt, so we're going to do that on each of these. Probably about, I'd say, a half a teaspoon on each. Salt and pepper makes it better, I think. Okay, and then we're going to do some Himalayan pink sea salt, which I really like. Probably half a teaspoon, I'd say. You can omit the salt if you're, trying to avoid salt. We're not yet. Maybe in another 10 years, but not yet. So we've got that, and then to top this all off, we're going to go ahead and lay down the fresh sliced mozzarella, which is makes it so good. So I'm going to do a layer of that. And what I'm going to do, like I said earlier, I'm actually going to freeze this one because I'm already assembling one. I might as well assemble two. It's just as easy. And then I just throw one in the freezer for another time. So I'll get the cheese on this one. And I'm telling you, the fresh mozzarella makes all the difference. I'm going to break that one up a little bit so it's a little bit more even. Okay, that's on there. And then last but not least is the Parmesan. Just going to sprinkle. This is probably about a cup or a cup and a half of fresh grated Parmesan. Again, I really like to use the fresh and grate it myself. It just tastes better. And then you don't have that those additives that they put in shredded cheeses these days. I don't want to eat it, and I don't want to feed that to my family either. So I'm going to sprinkle this evenly over both of these. Okay, I'm done. So I think that was, I don't know, I didn't time it, but I'm guessing it was probably maybe 7 or 8 minutes total, maybe 10 minutes max to put these together. So I'm gonna go ahead and bake this one up. I'm gonna throw this one in the freezer and store it for a later use. And I'll be back in just a sec. I'll show you what this looks like done. And then I'll also pop up that recipe card. So stay tuned, I'll be right back. All right, so here is the finished product. And I'm going to let it set actually for about 10 or 15 minutes and let it set up before cutting it up. You don't want to cut it right out of the oven. It'll kind of like fall apart. So it needs to set for just a few minutes. I'm going to go ahead and flash the recipe card up here if you want to screenshot it or copy it down, whatever's easier. Hope you enjoyed this video and you learned something. I would love to hear your input on any shortcuts you have for lasagna and what you think of this recipe if you try making it. And hope to see you guys soon.